and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Remy and I share lots of vegan content and tips to help you live well, and I am finally back in my own kitchen and I'm excited. Today we're going to be talking groceries. I want to kind of share with you guys some tips and just walk you through the way that I approach my grocery shopping, and then also show you how I store everything in my fridge so that things last longer, I minimize food waste, and also just keep my kitchen and my shopping a little bit more earth friendly. So I'm going to sprinkle in some tips, mostly show you guys what I picked up because I've been away for so long and when I came back my fridge was completely empty. So let's get into it. Before we dive into all of this goodness, I want to quickly talk about where I grocery shop. I usually hit up the farmer's market first and foremost, then I go to Trader Joe's, and then I go to Whole Foods. I would say Trader Joe's and Whole Foods are the main accessible grocery stores around me. There aren't really actually too many other grocery stores nearby, so that's kind of the way that I do things, and I do it in that order because usually I'll go to the farmer's market to get a sense of what's in season, what is seasonal, and that not only helps me to kind of decide what kind of veggies and fruits I want to pick up in general, but also I'm usually able to find some unique pieces like purple cauliflower, for example, or things that aren't packaged in plastic. So if there's something that I'm looking for that's a little bit specific and maybe unique, it's a great place to look for that. And the second place I go to is Trader Joe's, and I'll do most of my bulk shopping there as far as like my potatoes, fruits and vegetables, produce, things like that, and a couple of specialty items like everything bagel seasoning, for example, tahini. I buy my tahini at Trader Joe's. So yeah, that's the order that I go in, and then last but not least, Whole Foods, where I pick up more of the specialty items, and as you guys know, I develop recipes and do kind of vegan and gluten-free food for a living, so that's where I'll get things that are maybe a little bit more obscure and difficult to find, and also more of like my fun things. I'm a big snacker, so I will pick up things that are sort of fun and interesting every once in a while. So yeah, what I have here is kind of a good summary of things I will usually buy. Not everything is here because I already have like dry goods like pastas, canned goods. I already have tons of beans actually, and there are just a few things that I didn't need to purchase. So this will be most of the things that I would buy when coming back from a trip. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Actually, one more thing. I just wanted to say that before I go grocery shopping, the number one thing that I would recommend, and I always do, is to check the fridge and the pantry for what you already have. So I'll come up with a grocery list in my head, write it down on my phone notes, and then make sure that I don't have any of those things already, because the number of times that I didn't think I had something and ended up buying double and then never finished using the entire quantity of it is way too high. I've done that too many times, and so that would be my number one recommendation, which will save you money and make you a bit of a smarter shopper, and also save you from some food waste as well. Okay, now let's go through what we have. So I'm going to start in the front here. The first thing that I have are 2 little chili peppers, which I picked up at Whole Foods. I am the type of person to just throw them into my bag without like those green produce bags, because either I'll bring my own or I'll just throw them in like this. Like, they're pretty sturdy veggies usually, and I can just put them into my reusable tote. And so like, I know I'm going to wash these things before I eat them, so I just throw them into my bag naked, I guess you could say. So we have our chilies, and I'm going to use that for some spicier dishes that I'm working on. Then I have some beets here. I just got, how many beets? 5 beets, because I'm going to use these for juices, smoothies, and also some soups that I'm working on. I've got potatoes. I have sweet potatoes only, actually. I don't know why I don't have any regular potatoes, but I have some regular orange yams or sweet potatoes. I actually don't know what the difference is between yams and sweet potatoes. And then Japanese sweet potatoes, which are my personal favorite. And I usually like to look for the very obscure shapes in potatoes. I think they're really fun. Then I picked up some citrus. I have lemons and lime. In this jar here, I have some rainbow chard, and I bought this at, did I buy this at the farmer's market? No, this is from Whole Foods as well, and same thing, I just threw this into my bag. This one could have used a little bit more protection because it's quite delicate, but I have it sitting in a jar of water. And then I have some loose carrots right here. I picked these up from, I think, the farmer's market actually, and same thing, just threw them right into my bag. I'm going to be using those for some soups and stews, along with celery, which is also another great base for stocks and really anything. Onions, carrots, and celery together, magical combination. So what else? What should we do next? I bought this big pumpkin. This is a kabocha, Japanese pumpkin, and I bought this for well, just enjoyment, but also for recipes that I'll be working on, so stay tuned for those. And this would be more of like a seasonal purchase. So obviously we're kind of in the middle of like summer to fall right now, and this is more of like a fall winter produce item. I just got so excited when I saw it. And then behind that I have some radish, and I think this is just a really beautiful garnish to put on top of salads, soups. I love the pink color, and it's got a really nice like bitter flavor to it that is great with hummus as well. So these are organic, and I got these at Whole Foods. I guess I should quickly mention organic. So my thing with organic is I usually follow the Dirty Dozen. I don't buy everything organic, but I do think there are certain things that are more important to be particular about when it comes to organic. And also, you know, if it's something that I want to eat the skin of, which I usually do, then I'll usually opt for organic. But no, I don't buy every single thing organic. Just being totally honest with you guys, that's kind of what I do. Then I have romaine lettuce here, and I'm going to show you guys a little storage hack for that in a minute. I've got two cauliflower. I have regular cauliflower over here, and this gorgeous purple cauliflower, which I also found at the farmer's market. And this is, I think, something you can get year-round, but it's usually at its peak in the winter, if I'm not wrong. So purple cauliflower, delicious. I'm gonna make a soup with that. What else? I have some regular broccoli here. I'm missing one of the stalks because I already ate it yesterday, but good old broccoli. I usually have some of that in my fridge. Already talked about the celery. So for me, the two most difficult things to purchase without packaging are berries and also tofu/tempeh. So these are kind of more of the specialty items. And I do give myself a pass on certain things that I want, because oftentimes the more special items are for work. And what's really difficult about bulk right now, you can buy tofu in bulk usually. Right now, I personally don't feel the best about purchasing tofu in bulk, because usually it's sitting in like a container of water and you grab it and you put it into your own container. And I don't know, right now I kind of want to pause on that, so I did buy packaged tofu. But I will say this one from Trader Joe's is my personal favorite when I'm buying packaged tofu, and it's a super firm, high protein tofu. So basically the firmer the tofu, usually the higher in protein it is, because it's more condensed. So this is one of my personal favorites from Trader Joe's. Also has a really great texture. And then I also have a firm tofu from Trader Joe's. And with tofu, I almost always go organic, but I personally have nothing against soy. I eat it quite often, as you guys may know. So here I have organic blackberries, and this is definitely one of those things that I would purchase organic. And then I have an onion, which I did not purchase organic, and some beautiful garlic. I also picked up 2 large zucchini at the farmer's market because they were just gigantic, and it's the end of summer and I feel like these babies will not be at the farmer's market much longer. So, had to get them while they were in their prime. And I'm gonna make my zucchini ravioli with these, of course. I also like to use them in smoothies, pasta. They're just so great and easy to have, so love zucchini. Another packaged item, organic Persian cucumbers. And I'll put these into salads, I eat them on their own, and I'll also put them into like sushi bowls. I feel like they're good for both Western and Asian style cooking, so I usually buy the organic mini ones, and these do come in packaging. I have 2 avocados here. These are from Trader Joe's, and they're just avocados. And a bunch of bananas, which are not organic, also from Trader Joe's, and I usually try to go for the most yellow spotty ones that I can. I feel like whenever I get to the store, they're always like very green, but normally I'll try to go for something as ripe as possible, because I pretty much only eat bananas once they're ripe, and I use them for baking, smoothies. If you're gonna do any of those things with bananas, you'll wanna make sure that they're actually ripe. So it's better to get them on the riper side, though I know my mom likes some more green. That's just not for me. Back here, I've got organic tahini from Trader Joe's. This comes in a glass jar, which is really nice, and I use this a lot in baking. This has a pretty mild flavor for tahini. It's quite smooth and it's not too bitter, because I noticed when I was in Amsterdam that the tahini that I was buying was so bitter, which, you know, I can understand why people maybe don't like tahini if you get something that's very bitter. But this one I find to be very smooth, not bitter at all, and it's very nice and creamy. I also bought some creamy almond butter, which I'll use in baking and savory cooking as well. Last but not least, I bought a bunch of apples. I just picked these up because I figured we're going into fall, and the apples were gigantic. Like, look at, this is kind of like a normal size apple to me, and this was one of the apples that I saw that was like gigantic. So I felt like it was a sign to buy some apples. So I bought 4 apples, all different kinds of apples. And then before summer ended, I wanted to grab some more plums. and a nectarine. So I did that just because I love summer and I'm really sad when these fruits are no longer available. That's everything that I kind of have. I feel like I'm missing a few things that are pantry items that I purchased. Let me grab those and show you. So just in case you were feeling really impressed with my low waste shopping haul here, I'm going to show you guys the things that not only rack up my grocery bill but also account for most of the waste that I produce, and that is packaged items. So these are things that I will use primarily for recipe testing. I could eat very simply with just all of this and be very happy. You know, when I'm making desserts, treats, and recipes for the blog, usually I'll incorporate some element of something packaged. So first thing I got, organic brown rice crisps, and I'm gonna use this for some Rice Krispie treats that I'll be working on. They're gonna be a seasonal recipe, so keep your eyeballs out for that one. Then, this I had to pick up because, as you guys may or may not know, I am a professional chocolate chip cookie eater. Vegan and gluten-free chocolate chip cookies, that is. And I saw this new one and I had to pick it up. And then the last thing I found was another seasonal find, and this is the Simple Mills pumpkin, waffle, and pancake mix. And I just had to get this because it was on the shelf and it was staring at me. They got me with the limited edition, you know. They really got me, what can I say? So let's move into like the prep and storage because I want to show you guys how I store things in the fridge and share some tips with you to help make things a little bit more convenient for cooking. So I'm gonna put away some of the fruit first because that I usually don't do any prep with. I'm gonna put the bananas along with the avocados and leave them on my counter, and I do this so that they can help ripen each other. So I'm gonna put that away. I believe apples are best kept outside, but I usually like to put them into like the fruit drawer because I really like the cold, crunchy apple, you know? It's a really nice snack when you bite into it and it's cold and refreshing, and so I'm gonna put these away. Also gonna put my nectarines and plums in the refrigerator. Okay, I brought you guys in a little closer so you could see as I'm prepping, but I have here some containers that I like to use in the fridge. My personal favorite containers would have to be glass containers followed by metal containers. I do have a couple of plastic containers that I'll still use until they're no longer good. I'm gonna go ahead and wash a couple of the veggies that need washing. I don't wash all of my veggies because I do believe that things last a little bit longer when they're unwashed. Once you introduce water, that's when things start to kind of mold and get wilty and just like mushy and things like that. So for example, like the cauliflower and broccoli, that I'll chop up, but I won't wash it because it's very easy for me to then toss it into like a colander before I use it to just give it a quick rinse, you know what I mean? But for things like berries and fruits like that, sometimes I'll put it into like a fruit soak with a little bit of vinegar to clean it in a natural way and just let it kind of do its thing. But when it comes to like potatoes, for example, I'll wash those and scrub them very well, and then because I'm chopping them already, I do want to have it washed. Alright friends, this is voiceover Remy taking over. I'm chopping my produce here, and just like I mentioned, you want to be mindful that whatever you're chopping up, you're going to be eating within a few days' time. It does shorten the shelf life quite significantly and can subject your produce to a little bit of browning, so just make sure you eat it up in time. My favorite way to store everything that I've chopped, and actually leftovers as well, is to use glass containers. I also use metal containers and open bowls that I have, but I find that glass is the best because you can actually see what's inside. I often forget what I have just because I'm not able to see clearly what it is, so I feel like I waste less food when I'm actually able to see what it is. Once I start putting things into the fridge, I like to keep shelf life in mind, so I try and place things that are going to go bad a little bit more quickly towards the front of the fridge, and things that have a longer shelf life a little bit more in the back. You also want to keep temperature in mind. The top of the fridge is usually the coldest, whereas the side door typically doesn't stay quite as cold, so keep that in mind when you're putting things away as well. Now when I feel like something's about to go off, or I just know I won't finish it before it does, I really like to make use of the freezer. It is the handiest thing. Highly recommend it to store all of your leftovers. And last but certainly not least, when you're storing things in the fridge, a great way to reduce waste is to use reusable items. So everything from mason jars, glass containers, leftover peanut butter jars, and stasher bags are some of my favorites, and I'll link some of those below for you. And that is it for today's video. I hope this was fun to watch. I know it's a bit of a longer video, but I just feel like it's something that I'm very passionate about. You guys probably know this about me, but I love to shop for fruits and veggies, and I spend a lot of time in the kitchen. It's basically my job. So if you guys like this, let me know in the comments below what your favorite tip was, and if you have any additional tips you want to share, feel free to leave those in the comments as well. And I will see you in another video soon. Bye!